You know, I don't know if you've heard this, but Super Bowl 55 is the first Super Bowl in history in which the venue in which the game is played will be hosted by the team that plays there during the regular season.
That is wrong, as our friend Doug Kazarian pointed out to us. Dan Marino played in a Super Bowl at Dolphin Stadium, Hard Rock Stadium, and Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, when Jim Carrey drove him back after the first half.
I'll allow it. He's Tyler Fulgham. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. This is Bet. Happy Monday. Welcome to the show. We've got a big NBA card for Monday night, so we're going to close the show with NBA Pick'em. See how we do.
Yeah.
Probably average to below average, but hey, we'll remain optimistic.
We'll have fun doing it.
Jenna, Laine from Tampa covering the Bucks. Adam Teicher from Kansas City covering the Chiefs. Remember, if you're looking for any more additional sports betting content, we got some great stuff over on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. And as the Super Bowl props start rolling out later this week, we will be putting our picks, our favorite selections, all the great options up on that channel as well. It's Monday.
Okay.
We play a little reaction, no action. You ready to get started?
I'm ready, brother.
All right, here we go. The Kansas City Chiefs are a 3-point favorite over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for Super Bowl 55. Reaction or no action, the Kansas City Chiefs should be a bigger favorite than -3.
No action. I think that's fair. The Chiefs, I do think, are the best team in the NFL. They were last year, and no one has taken that strap from them to this point. They've lost just one game all season. They haven't been great against the spread, but that's probably because the market knows how great the Chiefs are, and they make the expectation almost too much for even a great team like the Chiefs to overcome. So I think 3 points, somewhere in that range, is fair against what is obviously a very good Tampa team. When Tom Brady is playing well, like the first half, and their defense, like what we saw against Aaron Rodgers in the second half, with the help of Matt LaFleur, we'll get into that in a little bit. But there's also a big concern here.
LaFleur.
There's a concern for me with the matchup of the Kansas City offensive line, suffered some injuries, was just middle of the pack this season, Patrick Mahomes' toe, and how good the Tampa Bay defensive line has been, getting Vita Vea back, having Shaq Barrett, having Jason Pierre-Paul. They've been all season long a great defense at applying pressure, pass rush win rate, all those stats that could make life a little more difficult for Patrick Mahomes in this game. I think 3 is very fair, so no action.
I'm with you on that. No action as well. A pattern has emerged this postseason, specifically related to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you go back to the divisional round matchup against the New Orleans Saints, the Saints opened -4. Immediately bet down to -3. Immediately. Like within the first 24 hours, that was bet down to -3, and it sat there for a week until it was then bet down to 2.5. Now fast forward to what happened yesterday. You have Green Bay opening as a 4.5-point favorite against Tampa Bay. Immediately bet down to 3.5 in the first 24 hours, then bet down to 3 yesterday. Now, you open up the Super Bowl. Some opened at 3, some opened at 3.5, and immediately everybody aligned at 3 with a lot of heavy juice. Why? There is a sophisticated group or groups out there. Preston Johnson is well aware of this.
Yes.
Our cohort on Daily Wager, which you can see today at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2, that loves the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. These guys love the Buccaneers. They've been right the last 2 weeks. It looks like they're going to be on them again. I think most books didn't hang 3.5 because they knew the Tampa money was going to be coming.
Right.
So that's what you've got. So good number. Reaction, no action, number 2. 4th and goal at the Tampa Bay 8-yard line. Down 8 points, 2 minutes and 5 seconds remaining. Packers head coach Mike LaFleur decides to kick. Matt LaFleur. Mike's the brother.
Mike's the brother.
Yeah.
In the
Matt LaFleur decides to kick a field goal, which cuts the Buccaneers' lead to 5. So, reaction, no action. Kicking that field goal was the worst coaching decision this postseason.
Oh, reaction. Reaction. Now,
visceral reaction.
Visceral reaction. It's the most indefensible coaching decision I can recall, maybe in my life, certainly this entire year. Now, in a vacuum, Adam Gase doing something similarly is not as significant because of the stakes. He didn't have an MVP as his quarterback, and they were the winless Jets at the time, playing for nothing. This was the
You talking about that game against the Raiders?
Sure, whatever it was. This was the NFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl, and the guy who you took the onus off of or away from is the league's MVP this year and one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. So one of the most indefensible decisions of my life, and what I don't understand is, let's just say if you're Matt LaFleur, you fail on this 4th down. How is it any better to keep it a one-score game, go have a kickoff, and then have them gain 20 yards, 15 yards of field position? You have a better chance of it's obviously not likely, but if you have them backed up on the 8, or let's say you only get 5 or 6 yards, get it to the 2 or 3, now you bring into the play a safety, you bring into the play a bad snap and a fumble that can come into the end zone and help you get that touchdown. It was just completely indefensible on every single level what Matt LaFleur did.
Wow, that's as passionate as I've seen you on this show, and you're a passionate young man.
It's that warm Caribbean blood.
I am no action here.
No action?
Yeah, I'm no action for 2 reasons. One, you probably won't agree with. One, you might be able to see my way on this one. I'll start with the lesser of the 2 evils. According to some of the very bright math minds out there, this decision did increase win probability by about 2%.
Yes, it did.
I'm not necessarily going to say I buy into that.
And I'm a mathematics guy. I love
you are.
analytics,
I told
Joe.
our producer this morning when I found out where you were going on this one.
I subscribe to the Bible of analytics.
I figure you got to get a stop either way, so they're playing to win. Kick the field goal, get a stop, drive down and win, rather than go, possibly blow it, then need the stop, then need to come down again. So I kind of get some of the logic behind it. I don't necessarily agree with it. However, no action to this. The main reason, Mike Vrabel punting on 4th and 2 from the Baltimore 40-yard line in a really tight, low-scoring game. I still think that was the worst decision. The second Vrabel punted there, you just watched everyone, just the air ran out of everyone, deflated. And I still maintain, possibly because I lost money on that game, that was the worst decision. But this was very close. Rodgers, should he have run on 3rd down?
Yes.
Looked like it was wide open.
Rodgers should have run, and that would have made maybe the decision easier for LaFleur. But still, Aaron Rodgers needs 8 yards to tie the game, potentially. Give him the damn
MVP
ball.
of all people. All right, reaction to action number 3. Tom Brady completed just 55% of his passes with 3 interceptions in Sunday's win at Green Bay. Reaction, no action. The Buccaneers won in spite of Tom Brady, not because of him.
As much as I want to say reaction, I'm going to say no action. Tom Brady wasn't so wretched in this game that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had to overcome his obstacles or the adversity that he put on them. He did throw 3 interceptions, and that's not good, obviously. But Tom Brady was great on 3rd down. The first half of the football game, didn't matter if it was 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 13. It was a conversion or a touchdown, and that was mostly due to Tom Brady's decision-making and throwing, the accuracy, that little rainbow he dropped to Mike Evans for the touchdown, and then the first 3rd long conversion. So they didn't win in spite of Tom Brady. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers got a lot of help in winning this game from, one, the inexcusable man coverage at the end of the first half that allowed Brady to find Scotty Miller behind the defense.
What was Kevin King doing?
I don't know. Mike Pettin and Kevin King have a lot of explaining to do there. And then, of course, Brady and the Bucs potentially helped in a big way by the decision of Matt LaFleur to kick that field goal in the 4th quarter.
I am no action as well. I'm going to think even bigger picture here. Tampa Bay was 7-9 last year, and their quarterback threw 33 interceptions. You hadn't been to the playoffs since 2007. You hadn't won a playoff game since 2002. Brady is the reason you are now in the Super Bowl. Now, yesterday, you didn't win in spite of him. He didn't play great. You did not win in spite of him. We put so much weight on what we see at the end of the game that we forget about the beginning of the game. And if anyone remembers, Tampa Bay went right down the field and took the lead in this game and put Green Bay on their heels. That was big, and it deserves a lot of recognition.
I will say this final thing. He wasn't the best quarterback on the field that day, but his team won.
His team did win. All right, let's go to Tampa Bay. She covers the Buccaneers for ESPN. Her name is Jenna Laine, and the first time she ever covered a Super Bowl, I happened to cover the same Super Bowl, and they put us right next to each other in Miami for the game between the Saints and the Colts. So we have that in common. Jenna, you're a busy person these days. We appreciate the time. Let's start with this. Brady picks the Buccaneers last March with the mindset that he can get them to the Super Bowl. The Buccaneers go out, they bring in Leonard Fournette, they bring in Antonio Brown, they build around him, and now here we are. They have made it to the Super Bowl. A lot of players change teams with the idea that they can pull this off, but Brady's one of the few guys that actually did it. What's the reaction been like in the Tampa Bay region over the last 22 hours?
Joe, it has been sheer pandemonium. I didn't get much sleep last night. I know it was because I was up writing, but it was also because I live not too far away from the airport, not too far away from the stadium either, and I just could hear car horns going off throughout the night. People by the hundreds gathered at the airport to welcome the team home on their 2 flights home from Green Bay, and then they took the streets of Dale Mabry, which is quite a busy highway, took the streets right in front of the stadium. They're waving flags. They're, sitting by the truck bed full of people just chanting, Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay. They were out on the street corners. It was just absolutely nuts. But it was still one of those things where it's like you wake up in the morning and you got to start texting people because you're like, did that really just happen? Because it's just been so long since this team has had really the ability to feel good about its football team. They hadn't been to the postseason since 2007 and hadn't won a playoff game since 2002. And they did it on the road. They went to Washington, then they went to New Orleans, which you really felt like if they were going to falter, it was going to be there. And then they pulled it off in Green Bay and did it without two of their starting safeties by the end of the game.
All right, Tampa Bay somehow becoming the epicenter of the sports world, the World Series. They win the American League, they win the Stanley Cup, and now they're in the Super Bowl. How is this Buccaneers team different than the one we saw at the end of November that hosted the Chiefs at Raymond James Stadium and lost that game?
The Bucs, that was right before they entered their bye week, and they entered that bye week at 7-5. And Tom Brady will even tell you, we weren't really feeling very good about ourselves then because they lost back-to-back weeks. They lost to the Rams and then the Chiefs in a span of 9 days, and they lost by 3 points. So it's like you're so close, but yet you're so far away. You look at the offense, it was very disjointed looking. You really didn't see that kind of synergy between Bruce Arians' system and Tom Brady's style of play. You really didn't start to see that until after the bye week. Really, the second half of that game against the Falcons is when things started to click. That was after they were down 17-0 to the Falcons. And of course, they, lo and behold, put together a 4-game win streak just to get into the postseason and to clinch that 5th seed. But, they started doing some things that they felt like they did well. They recommitted to the run. They started incorporating more play action, which Brady used a lot of in New England. They started doing more pre-snap motion, getting defenders out of position, giving Tom some clues as to what the defense was lining up, and that helped him a lot. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I really felt like the defense was playing very timid up until that point, and I can't blame them considering, Carlton Davis just got smoked by Tyreek Hill. But those guys started to get their confidence back in those final 4 games, and that was ultimately what helped them win against New Orleans. And then against Green Bay, those guys on the back end, they really had to stand up and be confident. The fact that Davis was able to hold Michael Thomas to 0 catches was important. And he held his own. He gave up some plays, but he also held his own against Devontae Adams too. It was really important. And then also their pass rushers. You notice those guys were actually able to get home and sack Aaron Rodgers. Jason Pierre-Paul, Shaq Barrett combined for 5 sacks. For a while during the season, they were getting pressure, but they weren't actually able to get those quarterback takedowns. So that was really key too.
Jenna, you've been around this team your whole life. You went to the University of South Florida. Any similarities between what you're seeing from this Buccaneers team and the one in 2002 that beat the Raiders in the Super Bowl?
Well, I can tell you, I talked to Derek Brooks right after the Bucs went and beat the Saints, and he was ecstatic about the way their linebackers, particularly Devin White and Levante David, were playing. But I have to say, while this team is finding its stride defensively, it's constructed quite different. That Bucs team had most of its superstars on the defensive side of the ball. This team, it's on offense, right? You've got Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, 2 Pro Bowlers, and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And I also felt like, too, with that 0-2 team, they made it through the entire season where you just felt like they had that magic. You felt like no matter what happened in a game, they were going to find a way to pull it out. But with this Bucs team, at no point during the season did I ever feel like they were going to win the Super Bowl, that they were going to end up in the Super Bowl. I thought that they would be lucky to be a wild card after that loss to the Chiefs. They did not really start to peak until towards the end. And it's interesting because this staff kind of knew that was going to be the case with Tom Brady. They weren't going to be able to hit the ground running because they had no offseason. They kept telling me over and over again, it's going to be more of a slow build. Each week, they're just going to have to try to get better and better and better. They're going to try to patch this playbook together to suit Brady's strengths, but it's going to take them a little while to get more consistent. And all Brady's talked about all year long has been continuity, continuity, continuity. They're finally starting to get a little bit of that.
She covers the Buccaneers for ESPN, and she does a heck of a job in the process. Jenna Laine, kind enough to join us here on Bet. Jenna, thanks so much for coming on the show. Thanks so much for leaving me in your dust. Have fun covering the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. All right, moving on.
All right, we move from hashtag Go Bucks Go to hashtag Chiefs Kingdom. It is Chiefs reporter Adam Teicher joining us here on Bet. Adam, let's start with Patrick Mahomes. Played well in the AFC title game. The toe didn't seem to bother him that much as he was through for well over 3 bills, hooking up with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. However, there were a slew of injuries, most notably on the offensive line, the big one being Eric Fisher in this game. What's the latest on their status and the Chiefs' plan to try and get them ready, if possible, for Super Bowl 55?
Yeah, Eric Fisher is out for the Super Bowl. He tore his Achilles tendon, so he will not be available to play against the Bucs in a couple weeks, and that's a big loss for the Chiefs. He was, you remember, the first pick in the draft in 2013 and just finished his second Pro Bowl season for the Chiefs. So that big loss for the Chiefs, particularly against a pretty good Bucs pass rush.
What about some of the other names that got banged up? Andrew Wiley, L'Jarius Sneed has been a fantastic rookie corner. Are any updates on their status?
Yeah, Wiley went back in the game, so he's fine. Now, Sneed was in the concussion protocol. The hope for the Chiefs is that he'll be able to be cleared in plenty of time to play in the game, so we'll see there. But the Chiefs seem to be hopeful that they would have Sneed against the Bucs in 2 weeks.
Well, related, Adam, to the bad news the Chiefs got about their tackle, Eric Fisher, is the matchup in Super Bowl 55. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, especially that defensive line, has been disruptive and dominant all season long. They have 48 sacks in the regular season. They've added 7 more in the postseason in the 3 games they've played. They've forced 7 turnovers, mostly by putting pressure on the opposing quarterbacks they have faced. We know Mahomes is great in all circumstances, even when pressure in his face, but what level of concern does Andy Reid have about his offensive line being banged up and a defensive line that's got players like Shaq Barrett and JPP on the other side?
Yeah, well, there is some concern because the Chiefs have really had to dig deep into their depth on the offensive line this season, and that was even before the Eric Fisher injury. Their starting right tackle, Mitch Schwartz, was out early in the year with a bad back. It doesn't look like he's going to be back for the Super Bowl. One of their starting guards, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, he opted out before the season started. And now you've got Fisher out, and Kelechi Osemele is out for the Chiefs, so they're down. The Chiefs have really had to dig deep in their offensive line, so it is a concern. Now, the Chiefs have held up fairly well on their offensive line. I think they're pretty happy with how that's developed this year, but they haven't faced a team quite like the Bucs, who can get after the quarterback quite like Tampa Bay can. So that's something to watch to see how Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator, sort of design some things to maybe help that offensive line out.
All right, finally, this is something that the Chiefs are familiar with. Tom Brady, of course, is familiar with it, but the Chiefs organization, they went to the Super Bowl last year, won it, obviously. Are they going to follow the same protocols and procedures to the lead up, the week before, the week of? Is Andy Reid going to change anything up, you think, with this Super Bowl being down in Tampa Bay?
Yeah, they're going to do things completely different than the normal for a Super Bowl. Last year, they went down the Sunday before, down to Miami, and were there all week, came back Monday morning. This time, it's going to be like a regular season road game. They're going to go down the day before, and they'll go down on Saturday and be down in Tampa Saturday night, and then play the game on Sunday night, and they'll come back after the game on Sunday night. So it is going to be out of the routine for the Chiefs. They're going to get as much work as they can done in Kansas City before they go. So we'll see how it works out for the Chiefs. But the Chiefs have been a very good road team, something to watch, not just this year. They were 6-2 at home this year, 8-0 on the road. But they've been good in previous years under Andy Reid as well. So this is a formula that's worked for them for sure.
No doubt about it. Certainly a unique season as well with everything happening around the world. That is Kansas City Chiefs ESPN reporter Adam Teicher joining us here on Bet to break down the Chiefs. We appreciate the time, Adam.
Hey, anytime.
All right, let's go. Super Bowl 55, 13 days from today, Tampa, Florida. Chiefs -3, total of 56.5. Tom Brady, 21 seasons in the National Football League. This is his 10th Super Bowl appearance. Part of me wanted Green Bay to win yesterday just so we wouldn't have to talk about him for 2 weeks. But when we talk about him, it's greatness.
I hate Tom Brady, mostly because he has beaten my Rams twice in a Super Bowl, including his first Super Bowl victory that put an end to the greatest show on turf, mini dynasty there. Someone put it in great perspective last night on ESPN Radio. Kirk Morrison dug up a stat that Tom Brady's percentage of going to the Super Bowl is higher than Steph Curry's career percentage of hitting a three-point shot. So Tom Brady's literally more likely to go to a Super Bowl any given year than Steph Curry is to make a three-point jumper in an NBA game.
I like that one. Do you think we're ever going to be in a situation the rest of our lives where we see anyone as dominant as this, like a non-kicker, for example?
Right.
You can extend your career quite long. 10 Super Bowls?
We might be literally watching it right now.
Like, this is it.
Patrick Mahomes has gone to 3
Oh,
AFC
you got me.
Championship games in 3 years as a starter, 2 Super Bowls in 3 years as a starter, and almost has been to 3 Super Bowls in 3 years as a starter. As long as Andy Reid wants to keep coaching him, which why would he stop? He can coach one of the greatest quarterbacks and eat that Kansas City barbecue until he keels over. Hopefully many, many years from now. But we might be watching the evolution of Tom Brady and with his opponent in the Super Bowl.
You think anyone's going to write an article comparing Brady to Mahomes at all over the next 2 weeks?
Probably not. That's
Why would that ever happen?
It's completely unoriginal and no, that's stupid.
The total opened 57. We've actually seen a little under money hit the market early. It's down to 56.5. How likely do you think it is we see 60 total points in this game? I mean, the championship games had no problem going over.
I think there's a 15 to 25% chance, somewhere in that range. I mean, it's Mahomes and Brady, so it shouldn't shock anyone if each team puts up 30 in this game, regardless of who wins. So I put that in, relative to other quarterbacks, it's a higher percentage, but 60 is still a lot in an NFL game, especially when they're going to have a week off and they don't. I guess they do know each other. They played each other earlier, but that game only featured 51 points down in Tampa Bay earlier this season. I think 27-24 was the final. So
it was like Kansas City scoring in the first half and then nothing in the second half, and then Tampa doing nothing early and scoring a lot late. I can tell you right now, and there's a lot that can change in the next 13 days, I don't want to bet the total. Because I don't want to bet an under with these two playing quarterback, and I don't want to bet an over because I feel like everyone's going to bet the over. Everyone in the public bets the over for the Super Bowl. I feel like a square if I play the over, and if I play the under, I'm the guy at the party rooting against all the fun. I don't want to be that guy.
I get it, but I am leaning towards the under right now.
Okay, then I'll take the over.
Fade folds him, huh? The fade, that makes you feel better about it. For real though, I think Brady, I keep going back to the Brady trend, and it didn't hit in this game. Since 2015, under is now 22-9 in 31 games that Brady has started with the total north of 50. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but this game was tracking towards an under. The matchup with the Green Bay Packers was tracking towards an under until Brady hit Scotty Miller with that crazy touchdown. And then the field goal that LaFleur took probably shouldn't have gone for a field goal there. If they miss the conversion attempt to try and style, it's under as well. So a little fluky, the NFC Championship game. So I'm going to ride the under.
All right, we're going to have
a
big prop spectacular for you sometime next week. Props will be coming out late this week. Next week, we'll be rolling out a bunch of them. We'll go head-to-head. We went head-to-head in the playoff pick'em showdown, leading all the way up to the Super Bowl. Maybe turn away for the results. Maybe I should turn away as well. 1-3 was apparently enough to hold on to my lead and successfully win the playoff pick'em showdown. You owe me a roulette chip, by the way, for that Buffalo game.
Here you go, brother.
What number would you like me to put it on? Damn.
There you go. Try that again.
There we go. What number should I put it on?
Put it on 12 for Aaron Rodgers for me.
I'm going to go the other way. I'll put it on 21. How do you fade a roulette number? If he goes 12, flip it around, play the 21. All right. We fade that off. Plenty of picks, like I said. We're going to have a big prop spectacular for you before the big game, but we've got NBA games tonight. The show is called Bet, so we got 4 picks for you. Let's go to work. Brooklyn versus Miami. Brooklyn laying 7, total of 236.5. What are you thinking for this one?
I'm going to go to a prop in this matchup. Kyrie Irving over 24.5 points. He's averaging 29 this season. 29, 5 clear of this threshold. He's scored 25 plus in 9 of his last 10 games, including every game that the trio has been together. He leads the team in usage since James Harden has joined him and Kevin Durant. And as I suspected, Kyrie is now playing a lot more off ball. Harden's kind of being the guy who facilitates and passes to Kyrie and Durant as they have now taken on the bulk of the scoring. Harden just picks the spots to drive. He's not scoring near as much as he did in his time with OKC and especially Houston. It's Irving and Durant that are doing the bulk of the scoring in a game with a 236 total. Irving's got to get to 25. Yeah, I like that.
The over has cashed in 12 straight Nets games. 12 straight. I'm going under. I'm going to go under.
So now you're going to root against points.
I'm going to play the under in this matchup. Here's why. So because of the wonky scheduling this year that's been taking place through the COVID and the shortened season, you're seeing a lot of back-to-backs, but not like a traditional home and home. Like, for example, Miami is going to be hosting Brooklyn here for the second time in a row. So 2 games in a row. This is the 5th time this season that they've played the same team in the same building back-to-back. And in the previous 4, listen to what's happened. Game 1 against Milwaukee, 241 total points. Game 2, 227. Second one out, they played Philadelphia where there were 240 points in regulation. They played each other the next game out, 227. Detroit, 220 and 220. Toronto, 213, 181. Point is, when they play the team for the second time, there's a significant drop-off in scoring. A drop-off of 14 points per game.
You've noticed a trend.
Over adjustment on the total when these two got together. Last time it was 232. Now it's 236.5. Hold your nose. Hold your nose on this one. I'm playing the under.
Again, no Tyler Hero or Jimmy Butler for the Heat as well. So
get up on them early and then just throttle down. Everyone take your time. Game number 2, the Lakers laying 11.5, total of 213.5 in Cleveland. Third game of a 7-game road trip.
Yeah, you see that ATS record for the Lakers on the road. That's enticing, but I'm going to play the under here. I'm more confident in that, 213.5. The two teams are combined 22-11 to the under this season. Lakers are first in defensive rating. Cavs are 6th in defensive rating. Cavs are also one of the slowest teams in the NBA, 26th, I believe, in pace.
Yes.
Whereas the Lakers are middle of the pack. So I'm going to go under 213.5. I think the Lakers get up big, can smother them defensively. Neither team plays fast enough. Both teams play good defense.
I am with you on that. I will be playing the under as well, and it ticked up just a bit right before we went live from about 212.5 to 213.5. So we get an extra point here. Two teams, top 6 in defensive rating, 15th or worse in pace, both these teams. Take a look at what the Lakers just did in Chicago, which may have gotten overlooked on Saturday night. Chicago is a fast-paced team that scores a ton of points.
Choked them out.
They held them to 90 on Saturday night. So third game on the road trip, and they've been fantastic so far. They beat Milwaukee. They hold Chicago to 90. We're going to play the under here with Cleveland. I agree with you there. Game number 3, the Denver Nuggets laying 1.5, total 223.5 at Dallas.
Should be a fun matchup with a couple of unicorns, Doncic and Jokic. I will play a prop on the big man, Nikola Jokic, over 42.5 points, assists, and rebounds. Par. Now, he's averaging 25.8, 12, and 9.6 this season. That's 47.4
It's a big
points,
season.
rebounds, and assists. So that's well over the threshold. Then you go back to the last time these two teams played this season. Jokic went for 38, 11, and 4. That's 52 points, assists, and rebounds in 41 minutes. Again, I think he's going to be out on the floor for 38 to 40 minutes in this matchup where these two teams are trying to measure against one another. I think he goes over 42.5 points, assists, and rebounds. Probably gets a triple-double.
I am going to lay the 1.5 with the Denver Nuggets against Dallas. Denver has dramatically turned their season around. They started 1-4. They've gone 8-3 since, and they're third in offensive rating, so they can score with the best of them. Dallas, and I don't think a lot of us have focused on this yet because we really like this team. We like Luka Doncic. We see the upside. They are an average basketball team, and it's time to call them what they are. It's an average basketball team. They are 18th in offensive rating, 15th in defensive rating, and they've got a record of 8-8. They're average. They've lost 4 of 6 as well. I'm playing Denver. Final game that we are going to pick tonight, it's the Boston Celtics, laying 4, 27.5 at the Chicago Bulls.
Jason Tatum will return from COVID protocols. Kemba Walker's going to sit out on the second leg of a back-to-back as he still works his way back into basketball shape.
He has not been good.
He was good last night. He was good yesterday, Kemba was.
That's one.
But Jason Tatum's better than Kemba Walker. So the Celtics have gotten better for this particular matchup against the Bulls, who are one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA. They also play at a lightning-fast pace, something that the Celtics should easily take advantage of. I'll lay the 4 here with a team that may be one of the best in the Eastern Conference against a team that's pretty much average in the Eastern Conference.
I'm a little bit worried about this because I like the over, but it's coming down. So I'm obviously going against the move here for a lot of the reasons you just laid out. The Bulls play no defense, move at an incredibly fast pace, and they score a lot of points. They're 5th in scoring and 28th in scoring defense, 2nd in pace. Boston, getting Tatum back is huge, but they did just play yesterday against Cleveland. So you wonder, you play that game, you shower, you meet with the media, you do whatever you got to do, then you get on the plane, you fly to Chicago, you got to turn around. I think the legs hurt you on the defensive end more than the offensive end. I'm not going to go so far as to say Chicago's going to do anything to win this game, but I do think we're going to see a lot of points. They'll be moving up and down the court.
Going over
227.5 points, Celtics and Bulls. Nice card tonight, by the way.
Yeah,
Arizona State in basketball. West Virginia taking on Texas Tech. We got a lot of action tonight.
Where'd you watch the McGregor-Poirier fight?
I watched it at home,
Yeah.
like the loser that I am. And I lost money on it. Thank you, Connor, for not knocking out.
Well,
or
you aren't the
technical
only
knocking
one.
out
I think
or
a lot
disqualifying.
of people thought Connor was going to do better. But Connor's made his money now. I just don't think he's that dog that he once was back in the day.
Poirier even said it. He said the aura was gone. He said he noticed it early on. He wasn't as intimidated by this guy anymore.
Dapping people up before.
That was huge.
What
I know.
Connor is that?
I know. You got to scare people.
Gotta
Once you
scare
lose
them.
the mystique like Tiger Woods, it could be tough. He's Tyler Fulgham. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. Thank you for checking us out on this Monday episode of Bet. We're back on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern.
We're 3 p.m.